history tree for this solid, and you'll notice that this solid has no history at all. Okay? So what we want to do is reconstruct some of the history by identifying some of the features. So if we start with fillets, so on the outside edge of this part, I've got this large fillet running down the side here. So if I drop into normal fillet creation mode, where we can create solid fillets, I've got an additional button here which switches me from creation mode into recognition mode. So now I can pick regions of the model which are fillets, and PowerSHAPE automatically recognises the fillet and automatically creates an additional entry in the history tree. So now when I open the history tree, you can see we've gone from having no history to having a new fillet history. Okay, now of course once we've got history, we can modify the history, so I can open up that fillet that we've just recognised, and I can change this to be a bigger or smaller radius. So here, if we increase this from 8 up to 12, then if I just undo and redo, so you can see the change we've made there, you can see we've edited the shape of that base. Flip this around and I'll do the same thing on the inside. I've actually got a fillet which is missing from the model on this edge. I know that that outside fillet has to be the same as the inside fillet. So one of the ways I can work out the radius of that inside fillet is to use the feature recognition. So again, select the fillet and recognise it, which adds that fillet into the history tree. This entry in the tree here is the one we've just added. And again, I can open that up and say, what's that radius? So I can see now that's radius 8. I could change that if I wanted to, but in this case, I'm going to create an identical radius on the outside edge. Okay, so using normal solid filleting, I can add a new fillet to that outer edge, like so. So we can we can recognise and edit fillets. The other recognition tool we have is for holes. So again, the hole creation tool, if I open that up, we've got the same button which switches us from hole creation into hole recognition. I can then pick any of the hole regions on the model, that will automatically be recognised, and once again we add to the history tree. Okay, so we created a new entry in the history tree, which is this one at the top here, just a plain hole. And again, in exactly the same way with fillets, once we have an entry in the tree, we can modify that entry. So I could open up the definition of the hole and change this to be bigger or smaller. So in this case, let's increase that from 3mm up to 5mm. Okay, and again, very, very simple reconstruction of as many holes as you want on this part. Okay, so just to finish this model off, let me take a copy of it. So this is a symmetrical part, so I'm going to take a mirrored copy about the XY plane. In copying the solid, we also copy the complete history tree for that solid, so let me just open up the history for the second solid. I want that to be a single entity, so I'm going to do a Boolean add. Okay, so that's now a single object, and I've still got all the history that I've just created without feature recognition. Okay, so there's our finished part.